Good evening everyone. Bit of a funny start to a video this time. So tonight I'm on Southwold Beach on the Suffolk coast. I'm joined by my mate Hardy, who's asleep in his Helm 1 tent just over there in the sand dunes. It's about 12:30 at night. Come up here Friday straight after work. It was a 2-hour drive. Hardy was meant to be wild camping at Dunwich further along the coast, but couldn't find anywhere, and said to me, are you going to be sort of around the area? And I said, I'm going up to Southwold. And he went, do you mind if I join you? I went, that's fine. So I'm going to be spending the weekend up here. I've got to be back Sunday afternoon, and this is the first of 2 nights wild camping. I'm in the Helm 1 at the moment. Haven't done a lot of filming tonight as I got here quite late. By the time I'd pitched my tent and sort of got everything straight, it was about 10 PM. I was pretty tired. As I say, I'd just come from work, 2-hour drive. We've just been sort of chatting. I've had some food, which consisted of a US MRE vegetable crumbles with pasta in a taco style sauce. It's menu 11, it's the vegetarian range. It's not my favourite one, but they're the cheapest ones at the moment, and I think I mentioned in a couple of other videos funds are a bit tight at the moment, but I still wanted a ration pack, so I got myself that. I've been eating a few bits out of that. Then of course ciders. I've already had this, an Auska Nordic Berries vegan friendly premium cider, 4%, a Swedish cider company. You've probably seen these before on the channel. Had that, very nice. And seeing as we are in Southwold, the home of the Adnams brewery, quite a well-known brewery, especially this part of the country, it's well known anyway, I thought I would bring along an Adnams Wild Wave English cider, 5% this one. It's a very nice design. I like the blue ring pull with the silver top. The colours are pretty nice on it, and yeah, had them a few times, but having it here made it feel all the more special. I felt like I was ingesting a little bit of Southwold, shall we say. And it's very nice cider. A splash in the face with a wild wave of flavours, refreshing, surprising and delicious. Serve at North Sea temperatures, which is probably what we've done, because it is a little bit chilly tonight. It is pretty much the end of summer. We're sort of into the last couple of days of September now, heading into autumn. It has got chillier, and I've been sat drinking this whilst overlooking the North Sea. We're sort of down kind of near the harbour, near the River Blythe, where it meets the sea. There's a few sea fishermen that are kind of wild camping as well down there, and yeah, it's been nice and relaxed. Like I say, I haven't done a lot of filming tonight, apologies, but there'll be more filming tomorrow morning. Apparently we're meant to get a really good sunrise. Hardy's excited about that, being the light stalker that he is. Sunrise is about 6:30 we think, so we're going to aim to get up for around 6. And of course it's the Sunshine Coast, east is that way, so the sunrise should appear out of the sea. Apparently there's a storm out at sea at the moment. We've had a lot of heavy rain here during the day, well, a lot of heavy rain everywhere in East Anglia. Even back in Essex it was pretty heavy, but it's all cleared now for the time being anyway, and the stars are amazing, literally just billions of them, and you can see them all. We spotted a few constellations. The gear tonight is pretty much the same as what I normally take, to be honest, nothing new. I'm planning on another wild camp tomorrow night, Saturday night, and that's going to be with my mate Dan from Suffolk, who I've not seen for a long time. He's a local lad. He's coming up here to meet up with me. We're going to do a 5-mile circular walk around the whole of Southwold, so we'll be showing you all the history, all the interesting bits and stuff. It's all interesting here, it's amazing. Been Southwold once before when I did the coast path years ago. We'll probably be having more of these. As I say, we're going to probably be passing the Adnams brewery. There's a couple of good pubs to look at, and we're also going to be doing a little circular walk, a 2-mile circular walk around Walberswick, which is the other side of the River Blythe estuary, and hopefully we're going to be wild camping on the beach there, which I have done a few years ago now. It's a really nice place to wild camp along this part of the coast. Never camped on Southwold Beach before. I think Hardy's going to be packing up and getting out of here early, so I'll probably stay here a little bit longer and wait for my mate Dan to turn up, and then we'll head off on our walk and then do the Walberswick walk. Lots of pubs en route, hopefully, fingers crossed, and then wild camp on the beach at Walberswick. So it should be a good one, this. I've been looking forward to it, Dan's looking forward to it, Hardy's been looking forward to it. Well, it was kind of last minute, but he's enjoying it anyway. So yeah, I'll bring you along with us as well. But for now though, I'm going to get some sleep. I've got the lovely relaxing sound of the waves. Apologies, I've waffled on quite a bit. I'm going to finish off my cider and then hit the hay, I think. It's a nice little sort of sheltered spot in the sand dunes on the beach. I'm looking forward to getting a good night's sleep. So, unless anything of interest happens, I'll see you in the morning. Good night. Hardy is leaving us, he's heading off home. Cheers mate, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
See you, mate.
And yeah, it was our first sunrise we shared together. Oh, yeah, that was all good. Cheers mate. See you soon.
No problems.
Dan has informed me that he's 15 minutes away, so I'm going to get the rucksack on my back and head off back to the car. So enough talking, let's get walking. In 1672, off the coast of Southwold, there took place the famous Battle of Sole Bay, fought between the English and their French allies against the Dutch Republic. James, Duke of York, brother to King Charles II, was the High Admiral of the English fleet, and he took up residence in Southwold House. James, his cousin Prince Rupert, and Edmund Montague of Sandwich formed the celebrated trio who made Southwold their headquarters. The Dutch fleet made their attack on the 27th of May 1672 and consisted of 138 ships, including fire ships, with a total of 4,202 guns. The Allied fleet consisted of 156 ships, including fire ships, with a total of 4,950 guns. The total number of men involved was somewhere in the region of 50,000. Both sides suffered great loss of life, and months later corpses were still being washed ashore. The English lost the Royal James and a number of fire ships. Other vessels were in a poor state. However, no English ship was captured. The Dutch had 2 vessels sunk, 1 captured, and lost several fire ships. Neither side could claim a victory. St Edmund's Hill has over the years become more commonly known as Gun Hill, owing to the presence of the cannon here. These magnificent guns are not, however, as one might believe, associated with the Battle of Sole Bay. It is assumed that they are some of the earliest to be made in England and are dated to the Tudor period 1485 to 1558, as some bear the Tudor rose and crown. Tradition has it that they were captured from Bonnie Prince Charlie at the Battle of Culloden in 1746 by the Duke of Cumberland. Prince Charles had taken them from the English at an earlier stage, although their exact origin remains a mystery. The Duke called at Southwold on his way back to London from Inverness after his victory, and being given a warm reception by the inhabitants, presented the guns to the town. They were last fired in 1850 when a man was killed by the explosion. The ladle, mop and rammer are to be seen in the museum. Southwold was bombarded during World War I because the Germans considered it to be a fortified place, and as a result of this the guns were buried, as they were again during the Second World War. Welcome back everyone. As you can see, I'm joined by Dan.
Hello.
Suffolk Dan is with us again. This is our second meeting together. Last time we was at Aldborough. We wild camped on the beach. So as I mentioned to earlier in the video, we're doing a day walk, a circular day walk round Southwold. It's 5 miles long and it's pretty much the same walk in both books. So we're looking at the pub walks, Suffolk book, and we've got 50 walks in Suffolk. So yeah, same route. We're going to be looking at all the cool stuff and the history of Southwold. Then after we've done that 5 mile circular walk, we'll be heading over to Walberswick, and then we've got a little 2-mile circular walk, but we'll be wild camping on the beach there as well, so all that to look forward to. We're on the promenade at the beach at Southwold at the moment, with the beach huts to our left. We'll be heading up towards the pier. We've just left Gun Hill. We had, what did you have in the cafe?
I had a tea cake. It's a bit weird of me to have.
It's a very older person's thing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't normally go for a tea cake.
You were born in the wrong era though, mate, I reckon. Like, it's absolutely fine, that's cool.
Yeah.
It's different. You'd get along with Jake anyway. Yeah, tea cake, and I had a sausage and bacon sandwich, which was unbelievably good, considering after camping last night it was just good food anyway. So we're fueled, we're ready to go. You know what I'm going to say, enough talking, let's get walking. This absorbing walk gives a view of the seaside town of Southwold. The circular route takes us over the marshes to the rear of the town, past the pier, along the promenade or cliff, through the sand dunes and back to the riverside. Along the way you pass some of the famous beach huts with amusing names such as Goosebumps, The Great Escape, Kippers in a Box and Albert Road, etc. Unlike some of its coastal neighbours, Southwold has managed to retain an old-fashioned, genteel nature, unspoilt and refusing to succumb to modernity. No fast food outlets or kiss-me-quick hats here. It's little wonder that Southwold was once voted the UK's most quintessential holiday resort. When asked why they visit Southwold, most people mention the fine beaches, the local pubs, and the local Adnams brew, open green spaces, the pier, 623 feet of wacky amusements, and of course the countryside walks. In front of us are views of Southwold's lighthouse, a water tower and the 100-foot flint tower of St Edmund's Church. Okay, we've arrived at our first pub of the day, the Soul Bay Inn. It's an Adnams pub, of course. First of many, thank you, Dan. We're going to get along fine, me and you. Yeah, Adnams pub, of course. The brewery is literally probably across the road somewhere. So, we're going to head in, get ourselves a drink. So we're at the Soul Bay Inn, here right opposite the lighthouse, and we've each got half an Adnams Wild Wave Cider. Lovely jubbly. We know that tonight we're forecast heavy rain from, well, last time I checked the forecast it said from 9 PM onwards. Lots of heavy rain, so we're going to have the tents, we'll be fine. It's quite busy out today, Southwold's very touristy and stuff. Who can blame them? Lovely, lovely town. The arrival of the first steamboats for more than 70 years marked a return to the glory days for Southwold Pier in the summer of 2002. The pier was originally built in 1899 when Southwold was a flourishing Victorian holiday resort. Mixed bathing had just been introduced on the beach on condition that men and women were kept at least 20 yards, 18 metres apart, and changed in separate bathing machines into costumes which covered their bodies from neck to knees. The Bell steamer brought holidaymakers daily from London, and the pier was a hive of activity as porters unloaded cases and carried them to their lodgings. The T-end, where the boats docked, was swept away in a storm in 1934. During World War II, the pier was split in two as a precaution against the German invasion. By the time Chris and Helen Iredale bought the pier in 1987, storms and many years of neglect had reduced it to a rotting hulk. Years later, the couple have realised their dream of rebuilding and reopening the pier so that visitors can once again stroll along the boardwalk with the sea spray in their faces and watch the boats unloading their passengers at a new landing stage. An exhibition of the pier tells the history of the traditional British seaside holiday, complete with saucy postcards, kitsch teapots, palm readers, end of the pier shows, high diving professors, and old style arcade machines such as the Kiss Meter, where you can find out whether you are flirtatious, amorous, frigid or sexy. A separate pavilion contains modern machines by local inventor Tim Hunkin, who also designed the ingenious water clock, with chimes and special effects every half hour. You can eat ice cream or fish and chips, drink a pint of the local beer, play pool in the amusement arcade, or watch the fishermen while taking in the sea air. So of course, as I am a PT and gym instructor, when I'm not making videos, I'm going to be training Dan here, my client.
I'm knackered.
Keep going. One more rep. Oh, look at that bird.
What?
You feeling the burn yet?
Yeah, we're doing it right.
Yeah. Perfect. Keep your back straight.
One arm. It's like Monty Python sketch.
You feeling the burn yet?
Yeah. Like that?
Yep. See, look, he's not in pain, he's having a great time.
Yeah. One arm.
Whoa.
Nutcracker.
Right, and on to our final one. Go on. Now that to me looks like a cross trainer. Very cardiovascular based gym this.
I don't like this one.
That's because it doesn't move freely, but that's probably the closest one that mimics anything in a gym, to be fair.
This one.
You look like a soccer mum. You know, I've just dropped the kids off, go and burn a few calories. Ah, sister! Anyway, cheers adult gym equipment. That sounds dirty, doesn't it? Adult gym equipment. I mean, for that I expect to see a sex swing. Moving on, quick. Now, it's only subtle, but I think that's the tea room.
How can you tell?
Do you know what? I don't know. I'm not sure. I just don't know what it is that signifies to me that that is the tea room. Not so brash Southwold, situated on an island between the River Blythe and the sea, is one of those genteel, low-key seaside resorts where, in spite of the pier, everything is done in good taste. The character of Southwold seems to be summed up by the rows of brightly coloured beach huts on the seafront promenade, some of which have been sold for the price of a 3-bedroom cottage elsewhere, and the peaceful greens with their Georgian and Edwardian houses. Adnams brewery dominates the town, and it is no surprise to discover that the beer is still delivered to pubs, on horse-drawn drays. Southwold is that sort of place. This small town is of great character, with fine old buildings, small open greens, attractive walks across the common to Southwold Harbour, museums and an excellent 15th century parish church. In 1659, a devastating fire destroyed almost the entire borough. From this disaster, however, sprang one of the most attractive features of the present day town, for when rebuilding commenced, large open fire break areas were incorporated to ensure that such a disaster should never reoccur. These fire breaks are seen today as Southwold's distinctive greens, and beneath them are believed to be traces of many of the houses destroyed in 1659. Today, the town retains a distinctive Victorian atmosphere, but its history is never far below the surface. One of the first things you notice on approaching the Harbour Inn is a mark on the wall showing the high tide mark reached during the disastrous East Coast floods of 1953. Similarly, in November 2006, the pub's kitchens and bars were flooded by a high tide. The lowest bar had floodwaters waist high, but the pub has now fully recovered. In a popular restaurant, you have the choice of dishes such as traditional fish and chips, lasagna with garlic bread, scampi and cottage pie. There is alternative seating in a large extension overlooking the river with views across the marshes. Drinks include the usual Adnams favourites and a selection of wines. We're just leaving the Harbour Inn after a pint each of Wild Wave. Oh, you had Goat Shit, didn't you?
Yeah, I had Goat Shit.
Goat Shit, yep, Goat Shit by Adnams, and I had a Wild Wave. And then we decided let's get some food, so I had this amazing place, fish, place, chips, and mushy minted peas or something and tartar sauce, and it was incredible. And then what did you have? What did you have?
Cheese and pickle sardines with chips and a garlic bread.
You make that sound so bland, but it did look quite impressive.
Oh yeah.
The food was impressive. It was very filling. I had to leave a cup of chips and stuff, which I was very disappointed about in myself. So we're heading along the River Blythe here, beautiful, and out to sea, where me and Hardy were camping last night. So we're going to pick up vehicles back at Gun Hill and head off to Walberswick. Yeah, that's enough waffling. Let's get shuffling, waffling, waffling, shuffling.
Sound like talking Welsh.
Anyway, yep, let's just get walking. I don't know who Sophie is, but she's a superstar. heading back out onto the beach at Southwold, and then we'll be heading north along the dunes, and being hardy we camped sort of somewhere in the dunes over there last night, so we've done a full circle. I think we've done enough of Southwold today. Full circular tour of Southwold. Amazing. Look at this. We're now back on the other side of the River Blythe estuary. We're in Walberswick. We've found a free overnight car park, and if you remember my Walberswick video when I was on my own, I started over there, and there's the anti-tank traps from World War II. We're heading to the Anchor pub, then we're going to go to the Bell Inn, and then we're going to come back around to the vehicles, grab the bags, head out to the beach, which is over yonder somewhere. Will probably more or less be near where my spot was in my old Walberswick video. It's gone 6 PM now, so we can only have a cheeky half in each pub, and we've got to be quick, can't stay too long, because apparently the rain and the storm is coming at 8 PM, so yeah, and the light, as you can see, is fading. It's getting on to winter now, so sun goes down a lot earlier, unfortunately. So wish us luck. Hi ho, hi ho, it's off to the pub we go. The Anchor pub prides itself in sourcing local suppliers for its fresh seasonal food. Apparently some of the vegetables are grown and harvested from the pub's garden allotment. Dishes on the changing menu include the likes of Irish stew, fish and chips, fish pie, veal steaks and ham, bubble and squeak. There is also a vegetarian option. Desserts on offer include chocolate pudding, syrup sponge and apple tart. Adnams bitter and broadside are popular here, and wine is available by the glass or bottle. Walk here during the end of November and beginning of December. Check the dates for the pub, and you have the added bonus of attending a beer and old ale festival. It's another half a Wild Wave Cider for me, and it's another pint of Wild Wave Cider for Dan. So of course from the Adnams brewery over at Southwold. This has been our cider of choice for this trip, and I've got a tin of this for tonight in camp. Happy days. We're in the beer garden at the back of the Bell Inn, and we've got yet again another half of Wild Wave Cider by Adnams. This stuff is lovely. This will be our final drink before we camp. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, ba.
Boom. Okay, we've got our rucksacks. Dan's all kitted out. I'm lending him some sand stakes because we're going to be on pure sand. So we'll see the vehicles in the morning.
Night van.
Night car, the silver machine, and off we go. So we're going to look for somewhere along the beach, past the little black beach huts here at Walberswick. I sort of camped further down that way last time. It's almost as if you're going down towards Dunwich. So yeah, you can't really see a lot at the moment, so I'll bring you back when we've found a spot and we're set up. That'll be a lot easier, especially seeing as we've got to try and beat the rain. So yeah, chat to you soon. I'm not sure if you can hear me, it's quite windy and the waves are quite noisy. They're out there, it's high tide at the moment and it should start going back out very soon. So we're out on the beach at Walberswick, not far from where I was camped last time on my own with the hooped bivvy. So I've got the Helm one out again. It's looking cosy in there. Got me a Haze Outdoors cut down mat to kneel on. Got another kneeling pad here as well, and my chair. I've got the table. We've had a little bite to eat, but to be fair, we're both full up from our pub meals and probably all the cider we drunk. And then, so Dan's over here, he's got his chair, and just over the back, he's got the OEX Fox 1 in that really nice green colour that they've just sort of started bringing out. And it's a lovely colour tent, that. Nice little tent, nice and low profile. Should be toasty warm. We've checked the tide times. The wind's coming from this direction, as is the rain. It's just started spitting, but we're going to get heavier rain apparently in an hour or so's time. Yeah. And then it's going to last all night. So I've got full waterproofs, my little Monte Minimus jacket, over trousers. I've got softy trousers on. These I've got walking socks, waterproof socks, and then I've got these little shoe covers. Just saves me having to wear my boots, my feet get a bit of a rest. I've got Arctic socks in there to put on as well. Yeah, softy trousers, down jacket, hat. I've got my little windproof smock on, thermals. Then inside, God, that's a lot less windy, isn't it? Got the Go Light Venture 40 sleeping bag again, down bag. I think it's about 800 grams. It's a men's large. Oh, there's me thermals actually. Got me little night mask, stuffed sack pillow with, I don't know, loads of spare clothing I probably don't really need. That's me silk sleeping bag liner. OEX Traverse inflatable mat full length. I've got my new Quechua inflatable helium pad from Decathlon. That's so comfy, that thing. Then underneath all that I've got the silver Quechua foam pad. Oh, there's my Arctic socks. My rucksack and stuff, that's all in the back porch there. Lantern. And I think the rain's picking up now, and the wind could be picking up a bit. Right, best thing to do, I'll chat to you in a minute once we're in the tent, because I think we might have to batten down the hatches in a second, so bear with us. We're alright. Alright everyone, we're in our respective shelters. The waves are crashing outside. It's pretty violent, the sea tonight. The rain has picked up, and there is a bit of a breeze, a strong breeze shall we say, heading south up the coast. And sort of this front of weather, this is meant to be sort of like it's going to start getting bad now, so we've basically got this until sort of tomorrow morning really. It's going to apparently go on all night. Good thing is the tide is going to start going back out. We've measured it and it's sort of about 10-11 metres from us, so it's going to start going back out. We've checked the tide times online. I know you can't always trust them, but it gives you a vague idea, of course. So Dan's in his OEX Fox 1. Cosy in there? You cosy? He's roasting in there, that's the main thing. Good. And I've actually still got the doors open on mine, but I'm probably going to have to shut the storm door up, like the main outside door up in a bit. I'm just sort of looking out to the sea really, and I can see the lights on down at Sizewell at the power station where I was with Mark the other weekend. It's all good. We've had a really nice time sat outside, and it's just starting to get chilly, and then the rain started coming and it was like, right, we sort of sorted out Dan's tent, got it sort of pegged out a bit more, guy lines out and stuff, and it's pretty rock solid now. And he's sort of sheltered behind my tent from the wind. That's if the wind stays coming from the south, you see. But yeah, I think we should be fine, really. So unfortunately the rest of this video is going to be tent bound, I'm afraid. I've still got another cider to drink. I've got one in here, hang on. I've got another Alska Nordic Berries from Aldi. All I've had in camp really for something to eat is just some crackers and chunky peanut butter from a USMRE that I had last night, a hot chocolate and a coffee and the cider. Still quite full up from like sort of big pub meal we had, but I have got another USMRE. It's another cheap vegetarian one, so I might have a bit of that. I might not have all of it, just a couple of bits and pieces, and I've got quite a bit for the morning as well for breakfast, which, if the weather stays the way it is, I'll probably be stuck in a tent again and be cooking breakfast in here as well. So we might not get out of here until a little bit later than planned. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to get the doors done up, carry on drinking my cider. Hope and pray we've got some good signal here. It's about 1 AM now. Rain's getting really heavy. Wind's fairly strong. And it's been like this since we got in the tent at about 10:30, I think. As I say, I think it's set to be like this all night. Waves are still crashing outside, but I think the tide is starting to go back out. Me and Dan, we literally can't actually hear each other speak, and we're in our tents right next to each other. It's just been a case of like texting each other and stuff, but as far as I know he's alright. He's gone quiet, so I assume he's asleep anyway. I can't really see us getting a sunrise, so we'll see anyway. I'll set the alarm for around sunrise and we'll see. But unless anything of interest happens, I'll see you in the morning. Night everyone. Right, it's 2 AM and the weather has intensified. The winds have really picked up. The rain has got really heavy. The wind has actually changed direction. It's now coming in east off of the sea. So my tent is just getting absolutely hammered. It's mostly holding up alright. It did throw a stake on this side up by my head end facing out to the sea, and just this whole side just collapsed in on me, so I quickly sort of hung out of the tent and sort of double pegged it, and it's bad out there. I mean the Met Office is saying 20-mile-an-hour winds. Bollocks, they're faster than that. I mean, it is on the coast, so it's going to be interesting. Anyway, hopefully it holds up, but this is definitely the strongest weather I've had this tent in. Jesus. Well, I'll try and get some sleep anyway. Good morning everyone. It's 8 AM, wind's still pretty fierce, the waves are absolutely brutal sounding. One good thing though, the rain has eased off a little bit. We expect it to be raining heavily still throughout the morning, but it's calmed down a little bit. It's still sort of a drizzle in the air. Eventually fell asleep at 3 AM just from exhaustion really, and I was sort of at one point sort of holding the tent up, like pushing it up like that where it had thrown the stake. I've double pegged it back out. I had to half hang out the tent last night and sort of got soaked a bit on my down jacket and stuff. But the wind, where it changed direction, was just suddenly coming in this way. It's still doing it now. You can see it's still kind of pushing the tent towards me. Yeah, that's the best angle I can give you, but it's coming this way anyway. I honestly thought at one point the tent was going to take off. I'm surprised it's not thrown any more stakes. So to be fair, the Helm 1 has still held up in this weather, despite the problem was the ground is like very pebbly and there's a bit of sand, and it's very difficult to get normal pegs or sand stakes in. Neither of them kind of work brilliantly in it, I've found out. Sort of at the back of the tent it's more sandy, so you can get sand stakes in. At the front you struggle to get stuff in, and that's why the stakes got thrown. That's nothing to do with the tent. The tent has done actually a remarkable job. I think any other tent I would have had, save for something that cost the earth, probably would have been absolutely pancaked in this. I'd have probably got soaked, because the inner and the outer would have touched, water would have passed through. Whereas this, the inner and the outer on this side touched, but no water passed through at all, which I was really surprised about. So I did re-waterproof the whole tent the other day, and I'm bloody glad I did. So my conclusion is it's still a fantastic tent. This is without a doubt the strongest weather I have tested this tent in, and I'm probably likely to test this tent in. Just because it can hold up in this weather does not mean I would always want to camp in this weather, but it has still done a remarkable job. I'm proud of the tent, definitely, and I'd still highly recommend buying one of these tents, but that was a severe test for it. I'm going to have to check it when I get home just to see the wind hasn't damaged any of it. Eventually fell asleep at like 3 AM. I was just exhausted in the end of just this moving about and stuff, and I actually slept really well. And then all the alarms started going off, and I was like, do you know what, I don't care about the sunrise, I just need to sleep, because I've got a 2-hour journey to get home. Eventually woke up at 8 AM now. I think Dan's still asleep. I'm going to try and do some breakfast in here, but literally we're tent bound again just because of the wind outside. It is so strong, and this bit of rain that we've got. I don't know if the rain's going to be coming back either. So it's made for an interesting camp, this one. Not the most pleasurable, but an interesting one. Apologies it's been so boring. I've just been here in a tent. It's like Tales from the Tent. So the porch did flood a little bit in the tent, but it's not too bad. Look where I've had to sort of double peg it and stuff. That's a chocolate flavour sports muesli from a French ration pack. That was given to me by Hardy Friday night. Cheers, mate. It's just cold, so I didn't really want to get the stove out. He also gave me a little strawberry with caffeine flavoured drink powder. Got that in this little collapsible bottle. Cheers again, mate. And then a vanilla flavoured protein bar. That's breakfast. Just have cold food for now. You can see where it through the steak last night. I've had to just put the normal peg and sand steak in. Double pegged it a bit there. I don't know how the tent is holding up, but look, you can see, yeah, the pork's a bit of a state. And trust me, it's calmed down. It was worse than that last night. Here he is. Morning. Yeah, it's rain in the air, but it's not. Oh, there we go. It is raining, but it's not as bad as it was. Anyways, I'm going to pack a little bit away in here, but we're not moving just yet. Anyway, we're going to sort of stay put, see if the weather improves at all. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me, but it's 10:30. We stayed here a little bit longer than planned. It stopped raining, but it's still quite windy and the sea is rough as. Tide's come up a bit higher. There's people kite surfing over there. Absolute bonkers. But then we're not ones to talk, we just camped on a beach in that, so... In a storm, yeah. So there's our rubbish over there, we're taking that with us, of course. Right, we're heading back that way towards Walberswick. We'll chat to you when we're back at the cars, it's easier. Okay, so we've got back to the vehicles. As I say, the rain stopped, but where we've had the heavy rain and stuff, this sort of like marshy tidal creek thing, well, it's obviously tidal because look at this, it started coming in up here, and look, that's where my the wheel of my car is. So didn't know this car park could flood really bad, but obviously one more heavy downpour and that's going to come past this, definitely. I mean, that bridge, look, is like high up on that bridge already, so that was a little bit worrying. Maybe we should have parked further over there, but I thought let's park here, a bit quieter in the corner, you know, so we won't be as noticed as much parking overnight. We stopped in the tea rooms here at Walberswick, and I got myself jacket potato, cheese and beans, Bakewell slice. What you got again, Danny boy?
Soup and cheese and onion toasties and a mocha.
Beautiful. This relatively short walk takes you through and around the attractive village of Walberswick. You can catch the ferry, a small rowing boat, to cross the tidal River Blythe and do the Southwold walk in the book as well, or vice versa. The ferry came into existence in 1236 and has been run by the same family for over 70 years. You can also catch crabs at Walberswick. The British Crabbing Championships are held here annually in August, when children compete to catch the largest specimen. The picturesque area with its harbour, river and coastal surroundings has drawn artists from a wide area over the last 2 centuries. Among the best known is Philip Wilson Steer, 1860 to 1942, described as one of the few English Impressionist painters. Prints of Steer's paintings, such as the beach at Walberswick, beach huts at Walberswick and Knucklebones, remain popular favourites and can be obtained locally. Nowadays the quaint village and surrounding area is under renewed threat from flooding due to tidal surges and defences being breached. In some instances, footpaths have been affected. Where possible, remedial action is being taken. Okay, we're back at the cars after having a spot of early lunch at the cafe in Walberswick, and that is the end of this weekend's adventure and this mammoth adventure, or micro adventure you could say. So starting off on Friday night and ending Sunday morning, and yeah, thank you to Hardy for joining me Friday night, and big thanks to Dan for joining me.
No worries mate, it's brilliant.
It's been great, isn't it?
It's been a lot of fun.
We've had such a giggle.
It's been a lot of fun.
The camp was fun despite kind of how bad the weather was and stuff. Thought with beats being stuck at home, not doing anything, it's good to get out still, so yeah, no, it was good. Hopefully the next one we do will be maybe nicer weather and stuff. That's 2 beach camps now we've done together, so I think it's time to do either like a hilltop or a woodland,
yeah,
something like that.
Anything like that, yeah.
Change of scenery, yeah, that would be nice. And we'll still include some walking in it, of course. So yeah, cheers Dan, cheers Hardy, and cheers everyone for watching. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. So until next time, take care of yourselves and look after each other. Stay safe, get out there and explore. Cheers, see you on the next one. Bye.